Courtroom Shenanigans. Welcome to Courtroom Shenanigans. In this series, Cop Killers, we take a look at the most brutal murders in the U.S. against officers in the line of duty. In Episode 3, we feature Texas police officer Kenneth Vann, who was murdered in a random act of brutality caused by convicted felon Mark Gonzalez. We take a look at the events on the day of the murder, the capture and arrest, and highlight the key points in the trial and judicial process right through to the final sentence. 2 a.m., May 28, 2011, Bayard County Sheriff Deputy Kenneth Vann was responding to an unrelated shooting call when he stopped in his marked car at the intersection of Rigsby Avenue and Loop 410 in southeast San Antonio. At the same time, Mark Gonzalez pulled up at the intersection and without warning fired dozens of rounds at Vann with an AR-15 rifle. Once the shooting stopped, the deputy's patrol car, still in gear, rolled into the intersection and came to rest against traffic crash barriers underneath an overpass. The bullets shattered the front and rear passenger windows, repeatedly striking the officer. Bayard County Sheriff Deputy Kenneth Vann died instantly. Several drivers called the police after they spotted Vann's patrol car riddled with bullets. Gonzalez fled the scene in the vehicle and remained at large for 1 week. In June 2011, authorities said they received a tip from one of Gonzalez's friends. The informant said Gonzalez had confessed to him and told him, "I killed a cop. Don't tell anyone, not even your wife." Mark Gonzalez was arrested on June 5, 2011. Gonzalez was arrested without incident on a Sunday afternoon at his far south side home in San Antonio after a joint operation by SWAT teams from Bayard County and the FBI, as seen in this video. Mark Gonzalez immediately requested a lawyer, refusing to answer investigators' questions. Gonzalez was in Bayard County Jail on one count of capital murder of a police officer, his bail set at $1.5 million.
Kind of took a deep breath and really gave thanks.
Authorities located an AR-15 assault rifle at Gonzalez's home. Testing later revealed bullets recovered from Vann's autopsy were fired from Gonzalez's assault rifle. In addition, investigators discovered the firing pin on Gonzalez's weapon had been intentionally altered in an attempt to prevent it being linked to the shooting of Vann. Cell phone records also placed Gonzalez in the area where the sergeant was murdered. Mark Gonzalez had been arrested several times beginning in the late 1980s, including twice on charges of unlawfully carrying a weapon, once on a driving while intoxicated charge, and once on a charge of burglary of a vehicle. Investigators determined Gonzalez fired at Vann's patrol vehicle 46 times, striking Vann 26 times and killing him at the scene. Kenneth Vann was 48 years of age at the time of the murder and left behind a wife and 3 children. He was a 24-year police veteran and had honorably served his country as a United States Marine.
A lot of people here knew Kenny, they worked with him. His wife still works here and is a sergeant in our agency. It's important for folks to remember that our deputies, when they leave the house in the morning, they don't know if they're going to return home. It's a huge sacrifice that they make. The person accused of killing Sergeant Vann is in our facility. It's something that our deputies are aware of, and we look forward to the day that he's not here and that justice is served.
October 12, 2015, nearly 4 years after being arrested, Mark Gonzalez entered a not guilty plea, meaning the capital murder trial for the death of Officer Kenneth Vann was finally taking place. A lengthy trial would pursue, lasting over a month. The state prosecutor described the murder on day 1 of the trial.
Officers who they could not even work it because they were so devastated by what they saw. He fires 26 times. The bullets crashed through the other side of Sergeant Vann's patrol vehicle, shattering the driver's side window and literally tear him apart. It rips the entire upper torso of him with a bulletproof vest providing no protection whatsoever. So many times that his finger is fatigued. It's tired. The defendant's first words are, "I killed a cop. Don't tell no one."
Mark Gonzalez's defense team claimed he suffered a fall and hit his head days before the shooting. They claimed the subsequent concussion he suffered contributed to his actions on the day of the murder. Gonzalez's attorney spoke about the incident on the second day of the trial.
When he hit that bottom step, he slipped and he fell, and he knocked himself out. This is a well-documented neuropsychiatric phenomenon. This is when Mark knew that he in fact must have done that. Mark told Steve Starling, "Steve, don't tell anybody, not even your wife." Mark was terrified.
Dr. Brian Scopp, a professional psychiatrist, denied these claims and specified that the conditions had no impact on Gonzalez's rational thinking on the night of the murder.
I think certainly this concussion would not have affected his ability to understand the nature of his actions at the time of the offense.
Next on the stand was key witness to the case, Steve Starling, Mark Gonzalez's close friend and informant who called the police a week later to tell them Gonzalez had confessed to him about the murder on the phone. Starling described his fears after being questioned by the prosecution.
First words out of his mouth were, "I killed a cop. Don't tell no one, not even your wife." How do I turn this guy in? How do I make sure he's going to be there when they go to get him? Anybody capable of doing that to somebody that they don't even know is capable of doing anything.
After a lengthy trial lasting over a month, it was time for the verdict. Take a listen to the prosecution and defense team's closing statements before the jury deliberation.
Mark should not be executed, and that instead he should get life without parole in prison.
We know now what he is capable of. Let's not make that same mistake again.
It was time for the verdict. Guilty or not guilty.
We find the defendant Mark Gonzalez guilty of capital murder as charged in the indictment.
The Bayard District Attorney's Office said it was seeking the death penalty after the conviction. A competency trial would take place 6 weeks later. Before sentencing, a jury would have to determine whether Mark Gonzalez was competent to stand trial. If found guilty, Gonzalez faced the death penalty. Officer Kenneth Vann's wife, Yvonne Vann, gave her reaction after the verdict.
Even the defense said he did it, so I don't think it was that much of a stretch for them to come up with the verdict. All our brothers and sisters in blue, yes. I think this is a very big victory for us.
Mark Gonzalez's mother disagreed with the decision.
My son is not guilty because he wasn't okay when this happened.
Them, I have no problem in forgiving. Mark Anthony Gonzalez, no. I will never forgive what he did.
District Attorney Nico LaHood explained the final competency hearing process.
Competency is relevant for two reasons. Can that person communicate with their lawyer, and can they rationally understand the proceedings that are happening before them? A defendant has to be competent to assess the final sentence, and so there's a competency hearing pending right now in front of another judge. Once that determination is made, then the judge will make the official sentence. Hypothetically, if Mr. Gonzalez is found incompetent, then he will go to a maximum security state hospital and be given the necessary medication, if that's proper, to restore his competency, and then he'll be brought back for legal sentencing.
Mark Gonzalez's day at judgment was fast approaching. This was the last turn left for his legal team to take. On the first day of the competency hearing, the judge detailed the proceedings.
I will appoint Matthew Fabian to perform the competency evaluation of your client. Should that not be satisfactory, let me know. We'll have another hearing and address whatever your problem is with that appointment. I will provide them with that opportunity at your expert's earliest convenience.
Damning evidence was played of Gonzalez speaking to his wife about the hearing. It clearly showed Gonzalez's competency.
We got a good jury. We took 5 weeks to pick this jury, so it's a 50-50 chance, you know what I mean? Don't worry, you know. It's a 50-50 chance. So it's whatever story they believe.
January 11, 2016, a Bayard County jury determined Mark Gonzalez was competent to stand trial, meaning he faced the death penalty. 5 days later, on the 16th of January, Mark Gonzalez was brought back in court for the final time to receive his death sentence. Officer Kenneth Vann's wife, Yvonne Vann, read out an impact statement moments before the sentence was handed down.
I will never have any more alone time with my husband, and my time now is truly alone in every sense of the word.
After a lengthy capital murder trial in October and a separate trial in January to address his competency, Mark Gonzalez was sentenced to death by 175th District Court Judge Mary Ramon.
You are hereby sentenced in accordance with Texas law to death.
Yvonne Vann spoke after the verdict.
All the citizens of Bexar County really want to know, how are they doing? How are those children? How is his wife doing? To me, this is just never forgivable. In my mind and my heart, it will never be forgivable.
Since the death penalty was reinstated in 1976, Texas has lethally injected over 590 inmates. Mark Gonzalez is currently 55 years of age and is serving his death sentence at the Pulaski Prison Unit in West Livingston, Polk County, Texas. At the time of making this video, no execution date has been set for Gonzalez.